Hello, so for this last video, I wanted to talk about the first chapter, which was, the section of the first chapter about being the heartbreaker. I don't have a ton of experience with being the heartbreaker, with more than with being the heartbroken. But I have broken up a couple of times, and I truly related with the portion where they were talking about not to make promises you can't keep, because I feel like a lot of times in my previous relationships I would make the promise of we could still be friends in the future, or we could still be friends moving on or something like that. But I found, because I know in our devotionals and our interactive assessments we were talking a lot about boundaries, and a boundary that I had been able to create for myself was that it was okay to take time before or after a breakup. And so in my most recent breakup, I had we broke up, and I told them, I was like, because they wanted to stay friends, and so I said no, that I need some time before I can get to that place, if I can get to that place. And I think learning to do that is really important, and I think that's something that they talked about a lot. And then for the second part was relating to God without feeling phony. For this one, I resonated with the how do you relate to God, and with the how people see God in different forms. For me, I see God as a friend. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I know they say that we have to stop seeing God as one thing or another, but I've always been taught to see him as a friend, as someone who will do anything for me. And I kind of felt like it was okay after reading the section of how do you relate to God, because it says, like, a direct quote, once you come to God as a real person, you are ready to build a relationship like any other. And that's how I've always viewed it. If I ever pray, it's as a direct prayer, or I've always been upfront about how I feel and me questioning my religion and questioning God. And I don't see anything wrong with that, because I think God wants us to, and he wants us to be our realest self. And in my realist self, I have questions, and I have things I would like to ask him and have him answer. And I think that's okay. And I feel like this chapter kind of gives that image that as long as you're being your realist self, that's all God wants. That's all he asks for. But these were very interesting chapters, and yeah. So thank you.